have they're quite difficult to play against if they're given if you don't shut them down early. I think RLS are a team that you have to play against uh, on a clock almost, because if you don't kind of put them behind early, then they will just kind of take the game over themselves. And I think they have so many different ways of doing that that it can be very difficult to play into them, because even if you shut down one of their lanes, the other one is just capable of completely carrying the game. So that is something that teams are really going to have to watch out for against RLS in playoffs. I think they're going to have to play with. They're going to have to try to match their early aggression and uh, skirmish them as best they can. And I think that's going to be a real test of execution and of mental from all of the teams in the league.
Hello, folks. Welcome back. Talk about a coin flipped game last time. We have Restless Leg Syndrome with a score of 1 and Coin Flip Gaming with a score of 1. I am your friendly neighborhood Shoutcaster Shargan, and I have got joining me on the desk today FOF's very own Sunrise, here to shed some light on things. How you doing, Sunrise?
It's been a minute since I've casted for Koshi's league, and I'm super happy to be back. I'm excited to be casting this playoff series. And these two teams seem pretty evenly matched so far.
They really are. CoinFlip Gaming's roster swap-ups have done absolutely fantastic for them. They have managed to pick up a lot more wins, I think, than people kind of expected, which I think is really exciting. I really like these first sets of bans that are coming out. They are kind of like, you know what, we've seen what are really strong. We're going to shake things up a little bit, though, and they're kind of like changing their focus, which does allow Anti to pick up his Aurelia this game. It feels like they're like, okay, fine. Last game, we weren't fully on it. This time we're pulling out all the stops, and it's just time to go balls to the wall.
First pick Aurelia seems ballsy at first, but I think that Aurelia is just a super powerful champion at the moment. Really, really overtuned. Her numbers are insane. She wins pretty much every fight if she gets stacks. That's always been the case, but she needs one less stack nowadays than before. She just annihilates people in trades. I do expect a couple of anti-mobility champions as a result. We maybe see a Vex from Shadow or from their mid laner from CFG route. He does like to play control mages. I'm also a little surprised that first pick Shen came through instead of something like maybe a Poppy for the lane counter.
Yeah, no, I do like this pickup of the Shen to kind of counter the Aurelia in lane as well, because you've got that Spirit Veil is just going to allow a lot of negation of those auto attacks, which is where all of Aurelia's damage really is. And then you have the Lucian being picked up as well, kind of playing into CFG's comp a little bit right there with that.
But Lucian Nami is busted.
I was going to say,
Nami is so insane.
The Nami edition is going to be what makes that right there.
Yeah, Lucian Nami is just, I think, the strongest lane in the game at the moment. It's super easy to execute. It's not like MF Yuumi, where you're kind of solo laning for a little bit because Yumi's not that great early. Lucian Nami, if they don't die somehow to a Helios Lulu, they should destroy them in the lane without like intense jungle interference. Neither team has picked a jungler though, so we might see like a counter pick in that matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting. And at the same time, we've got the Moon Boy and his sister showing up here as Aphelios is picked up. So we've got the Apheli Lulu lane versus the Lucian Nami lane. How exactly do you think that's going to match up?
Well, I think that Af is one of those champions where he really, really struggles in the early laning phase, and he's very commonly paired up with things like a Thresh to get him through the early lane instead of something like a Lulu to make him even more powerful late game. He's usually powerful enough on his own, so I'm worried for Sadist's life in a lane like this. A single gank could just spell demise for the whole game for him.
And that's kind of how things have been going, where a lot of ganks have been happening in the bot lane, so I kind of feel like they're picking the Lulu to be a little bit more of the shield and safe bet with the growth and whatnot. So it'll be really kind of interesting to see exactly how that ends up playing out. Other than that, things are going to be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think... Oh, we do get a Zac ban coming through from CFG, so they don't want to get power ganked by something like that. Instead, they're picking Sejuani for themselves. I think if you're picking Sejuani anyway, Zac's kind of bad into Sejuani. I would maybe leave that up. But it's not their lane, you know? He's more. They seem more worried about drafting. This is the most protect the Helios comp that I've ever seen. It's wild.
Once again, we have CFG picking up the Sejuani without a third melee champ. I am not a fan of doing that. So unless we see some kind of melee mid laner coming out, which into an Orianna, I wouldn't really expect to happen, except maybe a Yasuo, just because he can dash in, get around that ball, and be able to work around it. But we do see that the Malzahar and the Corki have been taken off the field by RLS just because they felt like they couldn't play League of Legends last time with Malzahar existing.
There's 3, arguably 4 mid lane bans coming through from RLS, so I'm interested to see what route picks here. Most of his champion pool has been pinched pretty heavily down. He likes mages. Ahri's not that surprising, but I would like to see maybe... I think that's fine to give AP. I just don't know if that's enough magic damage to break through a Hecarim and an Aurelia.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting. I do like the charm. I do like the fact that it will allow for a lot of CC. And this Hecarim pickup, I think, is really interesting because that was one of the things that I said in the first team comp that CoinFlip had drafted, where I really wish they'd actually had a Hecarim instead of a Sejuani. I think it would have given them a little bit more agency around the map and able to influence the lanes a little bit more. So to see RLS pick it up is going to be really exciting. Hecarim, I know he's not as strong as he was at the beginning of the season, but is still a very powerful pickup for this jungle just because of how fast his clear is.
I think importantly, RLS's team drafted, I would argue, like 3 relatively simple champions to play and an Orianna and a Lucian.
And a great ball delivery system.
Yeah, so that by itself makes me think that their comp is a lot easier to pilot than CFG's. CFG has a pretty obvious win condition in this Helios, but if you put him behind, like, I don't know, maybe a Lucian Nami lane, he's not going to impact the game, and you have no damage otherwise. So
that's true. That's true. I do think though that there's a lot of kind of stalworthiness in the CoinFlip gaming comp with the Sejuani and Shen just kind of being able to stall things out for as long as possible, and then you have the wild growth coming out from Lulu to continue stalling it even longer, just keeping that Aphelios alive. It's gonna be really interesting to see exactly how this ends up playing out. I do like the back and forth between Anti and You Belong in a Museum up here in the top lane, just because of the fact that it's going to be really, like, they've been kind of going at it this whole series, and just I think they both kind of are like, okay, fine, let's just get it on.
Yeah, I mean, top lane this game is actually I would argue that it's a bigger win condition for RLS than the bottom lane is for CFG, just because Aurelia is like, yes, they have Peel, they have a Sejuani, and they have a Lulu, but they have pretty limited answers for a side laning Aurelia in the mid to late game. She will destroy a Shen once she has a Blade of the Ruined King and a crit item.
Absolutely. Like, once Aurelia gets a couple of items and they start coming online, it's going to be, Shen is going to be on their own. If they're on their own, they're basically gone. It's getting to that point that is where they've really got to start working on shutting Anti down, which is kind of the key to RLS's comp, I think. You shut down early Anti, and you will basically prevent him from starting to roam around the map. Lucian is going to always be a problem for you, though, so they've got to keep an eye on it. I like this trading back and forth in the mid lane, though.
I want to put a quick focus on these jungle pads. Very opposing strategies in this game, like I kind of alluded to earlier. We do get a bottom side start out of Hecarim from War Leader, but then Shadow Bunny is starting Sejuani on the top side on that red buff. So you expect to see Sejuani probably level 3 ganking down bot lane. They are just bypassing their wolf camps, so it looks like it's probably going to be a buff Gromp level 3. With that being said, I think that that's so obvious that it's going to be difficult for that play to actually work.
I have a feeling that, unfortunately, Sada's taking a lot of poke damage right now. And so here's the thing with Nami Lucian. One of the things that makes it so strong is the same thing that makes the Jarvan Lucian lane so strong. You've got such an easy way to proc Lucian's new passive.
Ooh, that's a big trade top lane.
That was a big trade top lane, and I believe that there was a nice stun that came off on that, but it doesn't look like a lot of damage was able to come out.
Yeah, a little unfortunate, but goes in anyway for a couple of auto attacks with a level advantage. I think that's fine. Sadist might just die here. pretty low.
Exceptionally low. He does manage to stay alive. Good use of the Severum, the Celebrum Q. So they are able to get out, and they're going to be able to catch Demon Girl out. Shadow Bunny helping pick up a first kill. Unfortunately, it's going to go to Lulu. In the early stages of the game, not the worst thing in the world. Flash coming out from Shadow Bunny, kind of aggressive here. I like the aggression a lot, but unfortunately...
Escape looks okay.
Yeah,
Escape does make his escape.
He does, as his name implies.
I want to put another one quick emphasis on, I think that the Nami has the wrong keystone. When this lane really pops off and gets that free early game, which you kind of hope it does, it's because Nami has Electrocute, and Lucian's new passive, and Nami's Electrocute, and Press the Attack, and Lucian's other passive all pop at the exact same time, and it does like 400 damage of like early game burst.
Oh, I see.
So without the Nami Electrocute, they lose about 80 damage on that. I'm not gonna point fingers, but I do believe that Sadist lived with about 80 HP in that last fight.
It could be, and it could be either just they wanted the Aerie just for the extra shielding on the Lucian because they have to deal with such a long-lived comp on the side of Coin Flip Gaming. So that'll be kind of an interesting thing to see how it plays out exactly. I do like seeing the Heck Ring come in for this top lane gank, jumping right onto the Shen right there. They are able to get the nice pushback, but that's going to be the flash to survive. Good call.
Yeah, Shen Flash there has to be spent. You Belong in a Museum's not going to love that because now he has pretty limited escapes from Aurelia if he doesn't react quick to E her out of the first Q. She is going to be able to get 2 off on him to follow his E, so it looks somewhat spooky for him up there in the top lane.
Just a smidgen spooky, just a smidgen.
Shadow Bunny is going for an invade on a campless bottom side jungle before she wraps around for a second gank bottom lane.
Yep, going to be coming in right on top of the backline of the Lucian. This is going to be a bubble, though, that's going to stop them right in their tracks. However, that does not stop the flail from coming out. That's going to be a lot of damage coming right onto Demon Girl. Demon Girl is going to go down to the long-range Infernum shot. Way to go, Sadist right there as he manages to get a nice bit of damage right there. However, War Leader has come in to make the change, and he is starting to just cleave right through them. However, we are going to see all 3 members of Coin Flip get out of there alive. So that means that it is now an 0-2 game in the side of Coin Flip, and that is the largest lead that they've gotten, I think, so far this series in this early game.
Yeah, it's really good so far. Very, very nice execution from Shadow Bunny. Lots of good communication with their bottom lane to be able to play so aggressively around the lane. It is clearly how they wanted this game to go from draft. So nice job on execution of the game plan.
Yep, it's gonna be it's gonna be really interesting to see. I do like this again, even though the War Leader is very low to be going for this Drake. However, they're bursting it down very quickly. Route trying to find an angle, isn't quite able to. He's gonna be caught out by 4 members. That's gonna be a nice dash out of the way, though. They do have 6. That's gonna be a dash over again to escape. However, escape might just be hanging out right here, and we could be seeing a re-engage.
War Leader, you need to get out of here, homie. I don't think you know that
bubble's gonna catch, and that's gonna be Sadist caught in the shockwave as well. Lots of damage coming out on the side of Coin Flip Gaming as they jump right onto Pengu Soul. Ignite is burning their health bar away. The corrupting potion, however, is gonna keep them alive.
Shadow Bunny's only level 4.
Shadow Bunny looking for that flank, trying to find it. They're looking in the wrong bush, though. War Leader is gonna get caught out. He's gonna be going against a full health Sejuani. Unfortunately for Sedge, though, there is going to be Orianna hanging in the wings. And now look at this fight just keep on going.
This is a battle, dude. Oh, Sejuani gets caught.
Big Shadow Bunny. That is going to be really dangerous for them. However, they are going to be able to back off just fine. Good disengages from both teams. However, they are both extending these trades for a lot longer than they really should be.
Something that was well played from the side of RLS there is that the bottom lane is actually slow pushing to them before that fight. So the wave is actually going to bounce towards them in the lane, and they will take a lot of golden XP up. Even though the fight was for them defense, they still make some gold out of it.
Yeah, they are going to get some gold out of it, and I do want to say that while it's not exactly a pool noodle fight up here in the top lane, it is just basically it is just kind of trying to bash Shen over the head, and You Belong in a Museum is just kind of taking hits every which way, and is just really not going down.
He is down 17 CS, though, which is how this game is so even. If I had to guess, the gold deficit is mostly in that top lane, or like the reason that the gold can be even is mostly in that top lane. Aside from that, there's a 3-camp advantage for War Leader over Shadow Bunny. He is clearing a little bit faster, which is something you do expect to see from a Hecarim jungle. Shadow Bunny should be getting level 6 off of her next camp, but she doesn't care. She's coming straight bottom
RLS
anyway.
Getting a nice double shot right there. Sadist has got little mana, and their health bar is actually kind of okay. That's going to be a good dash underneath the bubble. However, the disengage is going to come out as the TP comes down. A good runaway. Anti trying to find a target. Does manage to catch a lot of the members of CFG right there. Well, that was Lucian going down as well. Anti taking a tower shot. TP coming out. That's going to be Dust picking up another kill as they take down Escape. There is no escaping the little Lulu. And then the rest of Coinflip Gaming is basically going to be running down CFG, but they're going to be able to get out just fine, disengaging with the Nami bubbles. And unfortunately, they were only able to pick up 1 kill, making that a 1-for-1.
Do they snag a shutdown on Sadist, though?
I do believe that there was a shutdown coming out.
They ended up on top of that gold-wise. They got more gold out of it than
good engage in the mid
CFG.
lane.
Route?
Route gets tagged. Pulling Route under the tower.
Really nice shockwave.
Not entirely sure what War Leader was doing. May have just been flexing his muscles. I think that's
ghosted and he ulted.
Ghosted and ulted. I feel like that was I've committed. I'm doing it. I don't care if there's no one there.
Kinda yikes for me, but at least the ult cooldown is not that long on the Hecarim. That's not really all he can do in a gank. Shadow Bunny back bottom for the 5th time this game.
For the 5th time, which this is what CFG really needs to be doing. They need to be continuing these ganks on the bot lane because that is where their
leader's also here, but he's no
main
ult.
Source of money is. He is very low. He has no ult. He only has the dash in. Polymorph's going to come out just in time to prevent the fear from coming out. Look at that. We have a nice bit of damage coming out of the Shadow Bunny. Shadow Bunny taking almost a full culling to the back. They are ignited, but they're going to survive just fine. And that is going to be 1 kill as they did manage to take out Hecarim going over to Coinflip Gaming as they continue to try and extend their gold lead, but are just not quite able to do it. Look at this.
This hurts really bad.
It kind of does, but it kind of doesn't because that Spirit Veil. Although in the meantime, in the bot lane, that's what's hurting a lot as we see Sadist just absolutely shredding the rest of RLS right there. And this is why Helios is kind of starting to come online.
Yeah, Helios really becomes a champion at about 1,300 gold and level 6, and now he has both of those things. He can finally start fighting back when Lucian does do these big trades onto him with the Q and the Nami everything. So I think this game suddenly got a lot harder for RLS. It was pretty even. The TP play didn't make much gold, and now they're down in summoners, and they continue to lose bottom lane.
Yeah, that is going to probably be their biggest downfall, just losing as much pressure as they have on this bot lane. Dust doing a really good job on this Lulu, just keeping everybody alive. And so with that, it's going to allow them to start taking this Drake. They do have a control ward down, so they'll only be able to catch a quick glimpse of it if they drop something in there. But in the meantime, good call to place this Rift Herald top. They're going to have that dive. Nice bit of damage coming out. War Leader is going to be taking a couple of tower shots, get exceptionally low. And just look at that. Anti doesn't have the damage exactly to be able to take out the Shen in time. He finally does manage to do it, but he's going to be taking that second tower shot, and that's going to be the 1-for-1 kill in the top lane.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. How did Anti not get that kill? How did that go to war? Did the Rift Herald kill him?
I'm not.
Did he get clubbed by the Rift Herald?
He might have gotten clubbed by the Rift Herald. I'd have to look at the replay to figure out exactly because I don't believe that there's a smite burn or anything like that War Leader has that could have done it. He may have had red buff.
Oh, Shadow Bunny mid lane.
Ooh, Shadow Bunny in the mid lane doing a lot of damage.
Oh, nice shockwave.
Pulling them both in there. Good disengage and damage at the same time. Shen ult, though, is going to keep Shadow Bunny alive. It just rips right through the shield in one shot, though. However, that is going to be the TP.
That charm hits.
Charmed actually managed to find a connection, hitting the Nami. Good aim on route. What I was going to say is that is going to be the Shen ult down. They do not have TP yet for another probably 25 seconds or so. Still got about a quarter of that cooldown left.
So, even though Anti didn't get the kill top lane, he did get half of 3 plates out of that Rift Herald, so he does come out with about a kill's worth of gold and an assist. He's probably not too upset with that. He does continue to build a level lead in the matchup.
And as we look at these gold leads, despite the fact that they're down 4 kills, RLS is pretty even. In fact, they've got a little bit of a lead. Look at this. Nice damage we see right here. Unfortunately, the Spirit Veil wasn't able to come out until very late in that fight. It must have been on cooldown, so You Belong in a Museum took a lot of damage during that.
I think Anti was baiting it. I'm like pretty sure that You Belong in a Museum had it for the most of that fight, but Anti's baiting it. Anti is in a pretty rough spot though.
He is. He's going to have Shadow Bunny jump in right on top of him, getting a couple of those stacks of the cooldown. However, we have the Helios in the bot lane, dropping the Infernum ulti.
Shadow Bunny?
Absolutely burning through the health bars in the bot lane. Anti finally picking himself up a kill as he manages to take down Shadow Bunny.
It might be a little too late out of Aurelia. Wait, this top lane has a gold lead.
Top lane is getting exceptionally exciting as we have the TP coming out as Route decides to join in on it. Anti dodging the charm, getting the stun as he's able to loop around. There we go. This is the Anti you should be afraid of as he manages to kill a kill under that tower. Very well done by Anti.
You know, they call Aurelia the Blade Dancer, but Anti is just dancing on these kids. That was crazy. Anti's schmoovin'.
That was absolutely ridiculous, and this is why Anti has like always had Aurelia banned from him. He never gets to pick it up. It's because of exactly what we just saw.
I was in the middle of giving a too little too late speech. He has a 70 CS gold lead. TPing onto Shadow Bunny. Shadow Bunny's not going to get away with this transgression.
Shadow Bunny is going to be caught out and get pushed back into the river. It's like, hey, where you going? No,
they're giving it.
You go down. Get back here.
They just sat there to give the kill to Anti. Shadow Bunny Sejuani couldn't threaten an Orianna and a Hecarim together, so they just waited for their top laner to be donated even more gold. 3k gold lead coming in from RLS, despite that early deficit. Probably, I'd guess there's almost 2,000 gold lead in the top lane alone. Can we take a look at that, Chris?
Like I do want to point out, we did have the top lane turret did go down, and the bot lane turret has gone down as
3,000 gold lead. Excuse me, it's 2,800.
Yep, 3,000 gold lead. That's just oof, big oof. And that just means that Anti is basically just going to keep on snowballing. He's going to get even bigger and even bigger. And with the Orianna being a 2-0-3, Anti 3-1-3, those leads are going to be what cause RLS to just start basically. The first part of the game, it's kind of They're like, we're going to give CFG a chance, let them see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then we're just going to close the gates.
Yeah. Especially, so the draft from CFG is just so teamfight focused. If you play this Aurelia in the side lane and never let teamfights happen, it's really hard for them to accomplish anything.
It is, and because of the fact that, like I was mentioning with Sejuani only having one other ally who's able to proc her passive, anytime Shen's not in those fights, it's going to take a few seconds for them to actually be able to get out those stuns, which are so crucial to shutting down champions like Anti and Hecarim.
Yeah, it'll also be pretty hard to snipe this Aurelia with CC that isn't polymorph. So when Hecarim goes in, if he can soak a polymorph, Aurelia will just 1v9.
Route just sitting
Route's
on
gonna have to ult,
members of CFG are like, hey, what are you doing? That's ours. Or RLS, sorry. You're like, hey, leave our ward alone.
Well, Route held his ult, which is brave, but he is gonna have it for this Drake fight. Or it's not gonna be a Drake fight and we're trading for the Rift Herald top lane.
I don't know if they're actually gonna contest this because unfortunately, Coin Flip is just so spread out on this map. They've decided to opt for the Rift Herald top lane and give up the Drake yet again. I'm not entirely sure if that's the best call in this case because that is going to get RLS even closer to Soul Point. And in the meantime, we have Blue Team stealing the Rift Herald, so it's not even going to matter that they decided to go for the extra objective. Anti is trying to get it. He does manage to finally pick it up. The leader is now going to continue this fight, though. We have reached the point where Anti is able to do so much damage that it just makes it easy pickings for RLS Warrior to try and pick some stuff up. However, Sadis decided to be like, all right, that's enough of this. I'm going to go ahead and take down this horse. The cavalry is not going to be what finishes this off. And that is another objective stolen as we have Orianna taking the Scuttle Crab.
Well, Anti
was just leashing RLS at this point.
Yeah, Anti looks like he's going into the Divine Sunderer for his mythic. I personally like seeing the crit mythics from Aurelia, but right now she's pretty strong, so she can go a few different options. Mm-hmm. You only get one lifeline item, so it looks like he's opting into Sterix Gauge. So, because you can't get the lifeline from the Immortal Shield though and Sterix, so probably going to be a Divine Sunderer, although those components do also build in the Mysterix. It could be either early.
It could be either or. We'll have to wait and see exactly once we do have the final build completed. It should be relatively shortly. He's got a decent enough gold that's going into his pocket.
I want to give a quick shout out to Pengu Soul, really doing well in the mid lane for himself. 2-0-3 with the 250 gold shutdown on Orianna. Just farming it out, playing very safe, solid for the team, and the shockwaves have been coming through for him really well.
They have been extremely well placed, all like usually under tower, pulling the opponents underneath the tower range if they're not already, or just make sure that they stay there when the minions die. That's going to be the Rift Herald getting dropped in the mid lane, and that is going to be huge as this mid lane tower is going to fall, which means that there will be absolutely no tier 1s left for coin flip. In the meantime, the nice bit of damage coming out, and that's going to be the flash from Anti in order to survive. They need to avoid getting over their shutdown. However, we have the Herald coming in, getting a massive fear on 3 members of CFG. RLS is just absolutely cleaving through the CFG front line, and that means that there is no way for them to fight back. This tower is going to fall.
Rout's on the flank.
Rout is on the flank. He's going to catch the charm, so that's going to be a lot of damage on Anti, but that's going to be 5 members of Coin Flip that are, or RLS, that are going to try and run in on him. That is a good use of the Everfrost in order to stop it, though. So War Leader and Anti are not able to continue that engage. So that was really well done by Rout.
It is wild to me that Rout holds onto his ult for so long.
That's he has
the
been
third fight in a row where I've been like,
life.
You gotta ult out of here, homie. And he still keeps it, and he makes it out, so he's better champion than me.
Oh, that shockwave! Getting taken down as Rout picks up the shutdown. Shutdown, however, is going to go over to Orion as they take out the Aphelios, and War Leader is going to get taken out as he gets hit by the second turret right there. And that is going to basically be an absolute massacre for both sides, as the only surviving members of RLS are Orianna and Nami, and they're both just trying to run away. But in the meantime, Shadow Bunny's like, hey, I want some sushi. Get back here. Just trying to chase it down.
I think the Demon Girl does make it out just fine, though. Yeah. So that fight was really kind of ugly. I don't love the diving 2 turrets deep thing, although I do love the energy that comes from it, because you could see the confidence that RLS was exerting in that fight. They didn't care that they were probably going to die. They just wanted to dumpster the mental of CFG. That was a mental fight. That wasn't an objective fight.
Absolutely. They wanted to make sure that they asserted their dominance and made CFG understand exactly what they were about to get into. However, I feel like CFG just took it just fine, and it was kind of been like, hey, you want to win this game? We're not going to give it up easy. You're going to have to fight for it.
Oh, this is
right
spooky.
Here in the top lane, we have You Belong in a Museum getting caught on the edge of the stun right there. Anti getting a decent amount of smacks off, but it's not doing a lot.
You guys know if that's the Shen skin that's bugged, where the W lasts longer than it's supposed to? Because I didn't see the W still down, and Aurelia's autos were still being blocked, so it looked really weird. I know that I don't know if it's still bugged, but it was bugged like a patch ago.
Yeah, well, in general, the spectator mode for Shen is actually really hard to read his W sometimes, just because of the way, in fact, you don't have the outline. Right there, Shadow Bunny is able to is getting cut out, and that's going to be a culling coming out right on top of Rout. The tidal wave is going to be able to hit Dust, but unfortunately, that's it. That is a good use of the Aurelia ultimate. They are able to catch out Lulu, as Lulu's not able to escape at all. And that is going to be Drake going over to RLS. That's going to put Restless Lake Syndrome on Soul Point, and that is going to be a huge objective gap in their favor.
Yeah, one more for the Soul. That Soul is so good on Orianna and Lucian and Hecarim. It's really, really powerful on Hecarim. You don't love to see it if you're CFG, that's for sure.
Interesting.
It's straight into Barons. Shadow Bunny and Dust are both dead. Shadow Bunny is probably going to be dead before this, or not. Yeah, she is back, but she won't be able to get back to the Baron. So this is...
They are cutting it exceptionally close. It's going to be like right as Shadow Bunny arrives if they head straight there, but it looks like they're going to opt to go to the mid lane instead. In the meantime, you do have Rout and Statist in the bot lane, just absolutely decimating this tier 2 turret. That's going to be bot tier 2 down. However, tier 1s for mid and top are still up, so that is the only lane that they have a large amount of pressure on. However, if you look at RLS, they've done a real decent job of pushing back the entirety of CFG's vision line, and so there's just really not a lot for them to be able to do. They can't really push up anywhere.
I don't super love that CFG spent 2 people bottom lane there. I know that they're a little bit afraid of getting re-engaged on, but Route is an Ahri. He has flash and her ult. It should be really hard for them to be caught. So I think if you put Route in the mid lane while they're hitting that Baron, you do get a free turret. So you can even out. I don't know. It'd be 700 gold back instead of just the 350 from one turret. So
right, I feel like they may have just felt that the Helios wasn't strong enough. In the meantime, we have Anti in the 2v1ing, and that is going to be a nice bit of damage. Is now 2v3ing as Shadow Bunny has still continued this engage. You Belong to Museum, though, is not going in. He's not providing out his support to his allies, and Lulu's going to get caught. These are going to get pushed back into the back line as Dust gets taken down. War Leader is just absolutely shredding through these lines. It is ridiculous. The Centaur of Death is here, and he is just absolutely decimating them.
That should be game.
Oh my goodness. This should very well be game. They should be able to push through these turrets relatively easy. The only one left is Rust. Rust's going to get jumped on right away. They're going to try and ulti out. They're going to get caught by the stun. However, the Rust is going to freeze Anti under tower.
Wait,
Anti? He managed to avoid that was almost... I can't believe he survived that. That very well could be game. Aphelios dropping the ultimate, hitting a massive shot as he manages to pick up a shutdown. And that was huge, a massive Inferno multi,
that hits
so much damage. At the same time, he's gonna get jumped on by Anti, showing you why you do not run from the Blade Dancer, because the Blade Dancer can find you wherever you are. And that is gonna be a huge push for RLS and a massive gold swing in their direction. And that is gonna basically start solidifying the end of this game, and the countdown timer has started.
Again? He did it again. Wait, is this just a replay? I can't. Oh, there's a pause bug. Got it. So I was lost for a second. I thought the same exact thing happened twice. I was like, wow, that's crazy. It is a bug on our end.
Yeah, that's just a little bug on our end.
So I think Anti making a strong case for Aurelia not being a fair champion. Looking pretty insane this game. Kind of gets to do whatever he wants in this backline, despite them I would say they drafted around the fact that Anti would have the Aurelia. He's just going ham in their backline regardless. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Anti using that Gore Drinker to survive the damage, just missing the RA was a little disappointing in that. Although, so now with the way everything is set up, Dragon's not up for another minute 40. So there's really no objectives down here in the bot side for RLS, but at the same time, they just kind of got free run of this map. They can do pretty much whatever they want, wherever they want at this point. I mean, look at this. You have Anti diving a Shen under a tower.
Yeah, he's not afraid of anything anymore, right? I mean, he has Gore Drinker, Wits End, and a Blade of the Rune King. Like, he does so much damage on every Q. Nice cleanse to get away.
Nice cleanse to get away from the Sejuani ultimate. Not getting caught in that.
Hey, credit where credit is due, though. This bot lane and Shadow Bunny playing so well around Sadist and Dust has kept them in the game for a long time. Route's kind of up in a weird spot, though.
Yeah, Russ taking a couple of double autos from Lucian, just gets absolutely shredded as you see the health bar just kind of drop from full to a quarter.
Anti is still pushing in the bottom lane turret.
I think that's a good place to have him be, just kind of down there, getting some extra CS, some extra pressure, keeping the Shen occupied while the rest of the team just pushes in on this mid lane.
Yeah, the one last thing that I would like to see from this, it's like a solid 4-1. I think that if they put pink wards in this jungle quadrant that they're surrounding, then there's essentially zero risk to them of just continuing this play and like slow burning the game. So I would like to see a couple of pinks in this quadrant of the jungle, but it looks like instead we're gonna just burn down the Drake as soon as it spawns and try to just win the game immediately.
Yeah, burn down the Drake timer, go for this Dragon Soul, pick that up. I mean, it's not the Hex Tech Dragon, so we don't have to worry about that nonsense just yet. However,
that nonsense sounds fun though.
Dude, or the Chem Baron Drake next season is gonna be ridiculous. I mean, like mini Scion ults. Like,
yeah, it sounds real fun.
Gonna be a legit thing.
I want to see Cassiopeia with it. Ooh, she has no mana bar when you come back. You just mash all your buttons at people. That'd be so fun.
So we do have the extra movement speed now, and that is going to be just all around goodness for the Hecarim. Like once he activates that ultimate, it's just going to be so terrifying how quick he moves.
Yeah, Sadis has some really nice team fighting guns right now, so they probably want to make something happen soon. Instead of having to wait for the Aphelios to restack twice, but instead he looks like he's just going to spend all of this crescendum immediately. Maybe he's looking for a different set of weapons.
Yeah, it could be he's kind of like at this point where he's like, look, I got to get my weapons reset so that I'm ready for the next fight. And it's going to be kind of worrisome because that fight's going to be coming up a lot closer, I think.
Sejuani passive's down.
Yeah.
Sejuani passive is a lot of innate tankiness.
It is, but it's got like a 12-second cooldown, so it's really not that bad at this point. Soul walking right out in front of Shadow Bunny. Shadow Bunny is going to be in a really bad spot here.
It's taking a lot of damage.
Yep, and we do see that, yeah, they're diving underneath this tower, basically going to siege down mid lane.
Oh, I would have ulted. I would have pressed that Archie. I have no self-restraint. I am proud of Pengu for not ulting there. Because I don't think they would have actually killed the Aphelios, but oh, he just kills the Aphelios on his own anyway. One of the cameras panned away.
Right there.
We're going to get a quick replay.
Right on top of him, and it's like just kind of bouncing the ball around.
How does this... What's he going to do?
He jumps right on him. There's the shockwave right there.
Just insta-kill as soon as you walk up just that little bit too far. Say this is the last hope for CFG. This is probably just going to be a quick siege.
This is going to be game because you have Anti in the bot lane, pushing in that bot lane turret. They're basically going to be able to start sieging that down. Mid inhibitor is going to fall here shortly. Rest of RLS rotating over is going to basically result in there being no objectives left to defend inside of CFG's base. And that is just going to be a huge amount of pressure coming out.